to a new star regular guest. Could next year's American election race throw up a big surprise? At this stage, the choice seems certain between Democrat President Joe Biden, now looking completely past it, and former President Donald Trump under illegal attack from Democrat prosecutors. But many Democrats are badly wanting Biden to bow out. And on the Republican side, Nikki Haley, former governor of South Carolina, former ambassador to the UN, has been rising in the polls from no hope to a distant second to Trump in some polls. And this week, a political action group founded by the mega billionaire Koch brothers has backed them, meaning tens of millions of dollars of support, plus their oiled political machine. So next year is going to be huge, which is why we've just signed up new weekly commentator Sean Spicer, who was White House spokesman for President Trump. And he joins me now. Sean Spicer, thank you for your time. How important is the support to Nikki Haley from the political network founded by the billionaire Koch brothers?
Well, it's in a normal political cycle, it would be extremely important. Unfortunately, right now, you've got Ron DeSantis going into this first primary. It's a caucus state, Iowa, with the support of the governor and a very influential evangelical leader named Bob Vander Plaats. You're countering that with this big endorsement that Nikki Haley got from Americans for Prosperity. As you mentioned, this Koch-backed Charles and his brother backed political action committee that's going to put a lot of money, not just in ads, but on door knocking, on turning out the vote. And so the thing is, because they're splitting this, right? You've got DeSantis getting some key endorsements, Nikki Haley getting some key endorsements, and then Trump still sitting anywhere between 40% in the state of Iowa to 50, 55 nationally. It's going to be very hard to break out. And that's what I think the challenge is for anyone who's trying to challenge Trump right now.
It seems, yes, an absolute race to be second, but only second between the other candidates. And talking of that, you mentioned Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor. I mean, isn't this the strangest debate in this strange campaign will be tomorrow when he, who's way behind Trump in the polls, as you say, will debate California Governor Gavin Newsom, who himself, we don't even know if he's going to replace President Joe Biden as the Democrat candidate. And they're going to have a one-on-one televised debate. What will that prove?
You know, Andrew, it's a great question because I think that the timing is off. If DeSantis and Newsom had this debate earlier and DeSantis could show that he was able to take on a Democrat and be that fighter that, you know, not only could beat Trump, but could take on Biden or whomever the Democrats put up, I think it would have benefited him better. But they lagged on in the negotiations and weren't able to settle on a date until, as you mentioned, what will be tomorrow in Georgia on a Fox program. I think it's important, but remember, I don't know how many people are going to look to that as somewhat insightful to how they'll vote in Iowa or New Hampshire. And just to be clear on this, Ron DeSantis has taken all of his chips, if you will, and put them on Iowa. If he doesn't come out a strong second place, his race is over. There's no way about it that he has made it very clear that Iowa is where he's planting his flag and that he shows that he can be the formidable number two candidate to Donald Trump to get into that one-on-one race. If Nikki Haley bests him in Iowa or you know, they tie, I just don't see how DeSantis has the ability to go to grassroots supporters or donors and make the case that he should continue.
Well, especially when the air seems to have been going out of his balloon for quite a while now.
That's right.
Look, Sean Spicer, it's the first time I've been able to talk to you. I'm interested that Donald Trump that we see campaigning now compared to the Donald Trump that you worked for in the White House, have you noticed any change? Do you think he'd be a different president than he was the first time around?
I do. I think he learned a lot the first time, as would any first-timer into politics. Look, we put together, I went with him on day one into the White House. There was a bunch of folks that had no political experience. They were from different political backgrounds. And that was who Donald Trump was. And I get it, but I think he learned a lot about the people that he needs to surround himself with, the challenges that the federal government poses in terms of trying to reform it, and the qualities and experience of the people that you need to do the job. The first, year, I think there was a steep learning curve. He walks in now with 4 years of hindsight and the ability to start on day one in a way that most presidents wouldn't have. But the difference with Trump is that on Republican and Democratic sides, you've always had people that have been in politics. They've been a governor, a senator. They have a deep bench of people to call upon to staff the government when they take over. Trump didn't have that. And as you know, we weren't expected to win. So there wasn't a ton of planning put into it. We kind of went, hit the gas pedal right after the election. And I think we did a great job hitting the ground running. But I don't think that it was the best group of people who really understood what President Trump's priorities were and what the mission was. And now you see a lot of spade work being done by groups here in the United States that are on the Republican side that want to make sure that Trump or any other administration is staffed up day one with the right people. And they're creating and cataloging resumes of people who are qualified and who support the cause.
It's a shame that he's burnt some of the more capable performers in his last administration. I thought Mike Pompeo was actually a great asset in the end.
Well, I would say, Andrew, I think that Mike Pompeo is somebody who I could see coming back into a second Trump term. In fact, he's sort of my dark horse, if you will, on the vice president's list. I think the president and Secretary Pompeo have a good working relationship. They know each other. They understand the agenda. I mean, Secretary Pompeo is one of the few people at the senior levels who lasted all 4 years. He's very capable. He's a very brilliant man. And I think he understands the America First agenda and understands President Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has a tremendous amount of respect for him.
Thank you so much indeed for your time, Sean Spicer.
You bet, Andrew. Thank you for having me.